What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good evening, or wherever you are, and whatever time it is. So welcome back to yet another video with you, man, Immersioholic, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another online battle for the DeI to Para Overhaul mod for Total War Rome 2. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Cimbri, the juggernaut of Germania, taking on Media Atropatkan. I am playing as the Cimbri, and my good friend NoScope is playing as Media. This is going to take place on the Macedon map. This is going to be a very interesting battle, because if you've watched my previous Cimbri online battles, you will know I do have a certain tactic that I very much love to use, and that would be, of course, the guerrilla deployment. So as you can see, we are up here on the hill, but if you are a savvy viewer, you will notice what is happening in the battle. At least if you check out the mini-map. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, we are on top of the hill, and we are about less than 100 meters away from the enemy formation while we are using the large battlefield submod. That's right, we are using the guerrilla deploy little cheeky buff here, cheeky perk I guess, to do a surprise attack against the Median army. Before we do shut it off though, I will very quickly go over the roster of each faction. I'll list out what we can see from the Medians. At least a lot of their troops are in the forest, and then we'll very quickly jump into the battle. Alright everyone, so on our far left hand flank we have a set of Cimbri Axemen over here, all out here on their own. Keep in mind, I couldn't see the enemy army during my deployment, so the fact that he's lined up perfectly against my men is just by pure coincidence. Very, very lucky for me. But anyway, let's continue moving to the center of the formation. Over here we have a Cimbri veteran sword unit, and then another one right here. We then have the champions of Thuneros. These guys are very, very scary, and they're axe wielding, which means that they have armor piercing qualities, and I believe they also can throw an axe at the enemy. In front of them though, we then have Cimbri heavy axemen. One unit of them there, a second one here, a third one here, and then a fourth one over here. To the right hand side we see a mirror of our left hand flank. Cimbri veteran swords, champions of Thuneros, another Cimbri veteran sword. However, we then see some cavalry out here on the far right. We have Cimbrian medium horsemen right there, another medium horseman right here, which is basically medium, melee cav, backed up by a Cimbri spear band, very cheap spear unit to have. Back up here to the center of our formation, we have a single Cimbri archer, intentionally single, and it does also have the stalk ability, I believe. Yes, so that way they can move around and be hidden, which is why I brought only one unit. We then have a Cimbri noble axeman unit for our general. Then behind him, up here in reserve, we have two sets of Cimbri light riders, backed up by another Cimbri spear band. That is the Cimbri army. Let's look at what the Medians have, where they are, and then we'll get into the battle. So way out here on the Median right hand flank, we have 4 sets of Median horse archers. Once again, NoScope is trying to use his skirmisher cavalry to his advantage, but as you guys saw earlier in the first online battle between me and him, where we had Athens take on the RDI, I know that he likes to use them, and I know Media has them, so I'm going to be trying to counter it. You'll see how I counter his skirmishers shortly. Just funny, because you see I don't have any skirmishers at all. Continuing from the right hand side though, we have Persian apple bearers, a very, very nice spearman unit. He then has a entire front line of elite shield bearers, very nice unit, and they do also have a bow and arrow that they can shoot at the enemy, although they're not going to have a lot of time to do so here. Then in the second line he has more shield bearers right here, 1, 2, 3, and 4 sets of them. Continuing to the left, another Persian apple bearer. Behind them in reserve he has one set of Iranian cataphracts, and then a late Iranian cataphract for his general, and then that's all we can see, I believe, for now. Yes, he does have some more units hidden in the forest, but this is pretty much what we can see at the beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and start this online battle and see what happens with this Cimbri guerrilla deployment rush build. Let's do this. So obviously immediately we're going to be charging downhill as quickly as possible. I do have my cavalry in reserve so I can counteract anything that his cav does. I'm really trying to overload his flanks as well. That's why you'll notice there's only really one line of troops charging at the enemy. We're going to try and get out our attack orders. I'm not even going to waste time trying to throw our javelins for the most part. Center will, but the center has more to push through as well. Flaming arrows coming in to try and scare the enemy, but our left-hand flank, you're going to see me really try to overload it, sending my infantry around immediately. I'm not going to waste any time whatsoever. Right-hand flank, similar sort of story going on. Although out here I am a little bit more patient and allow my men to use their javelins. But you'll be seeing me push forward very, very quickly and try not to waste any time. This is a rush build, so we're going to have to try and rush as much as we can. My axemen come out of the tree line and start hitting his horse archers with their own javelins. He's obviously trying to get up behind my lines just like before with the RDI Athenian online battle. However, he's not expecting a massive rush of cavalry coming down the hillside. These are only light riders, but they are melee-based cavalry. So his horse archers do attempt to escape as quickly as possible. It's almost like we're taking on Parthians here, huh? A lot of them here. My axemen will still try to help out. And then I also have one of my veteran swordsman units trying to get involved as well. My general getting involved in the center while I also rotate some of my cavalry around to help out. My general is a very nice armor piercing unit, so we'll get some nice kills on the charge. Meanwhile, my men continue outflanking him on the far left hand side. The right hand flank is looking very similar story as well. Pinning down his main front line, we're going to be charging into the side. However, here comes the Iranian cataphract. Counterattack, look at him coming in. Terrifying unit. Possibly the best cataphract in the game, at least in the top 5. Look at him come in against my swordsmen. This is not the sort of charge that my men want to be dealing with. However, it's not too good because my men were slightly uphill and they're in a heavy forest. So we will survive the charge. Take about 20 losses, which is quite a lot, but you know, a lot less than what I would expect. And we do have a spearband unit right here. So we are going to try and clump up on his cavalry. Use my cav to try and tie them down for as long as possible. All I need to do is distract his cavalry for as long as I can, while my main line just chomps into his. You're going to see me pull back my men right here and recharge again, sending cavalry around to the right-hand flank to try and support. In the meantime, my left-hand flank has smashed his far right-hand side. While that's happening, my cavalry continues to push against his, backed up by my axemen as well. They will be combing through the forest looking for any more survivors of their troops that were hidden in reserve, but because we are surrounding them, hitting them with flaming arrows, they're going to rout quite quickly. And my men are going to get some serious kills. They'll even level up in veterancy and whatnot as well. My general is starting to raise the banner, give it a little bit of a rally as well, continue to keep my morale up, because morale for the barbarians is definitely an issue. However, the Medians right now, they are struggling. The main hope that they have is trying to outdo my cavalry and use their cav to bounce back from this, but look at this, the cav is getting tied up. They don't have the space to maneuver, and now my cavalry is going to come on in to the center of their formation and try to smash into their general. Not a very devastating charge, but it's really trying to pin him down. This general that he has is an absolute tank. It's going to take a lot of fighting to get him down, but in the meantime, while his cavalry is scrambling to try and survive, look at his front line. It has just been absolutely decimated. My archers still sniping away with their flaming arrows. We might have some issues with this unit routing back uphill, but I mean, his men are routing faster than I can give attack orders right now. We're absolutely smashing. This is basically, his formation is like a V shape here. You've got a little taco of medians, and he's just getting annihilated and eaten up. The medians really can't really do anything to counter this now. His cavalry is bogged down. He did a really nice job of trying to counter-attack my charge by sending his horse archers uphill, but I had this reserve up here. I even have spearmen I haven't used in reserve as well. And my front line was just perfectly designed to chomp through his heavy spearmen. So GG's to my man NoScope. He did really valiant with what he could, but again, he is newer to online battles, so he's probably not used to guerrilla deployment being right up in your face, but the power of guerrilla deployment is there, ladies and gentlemen. Yet again, the Cimbri prevail, using their terrifying tactics of throwing axes at the enemy, combined with just their absolute ferociousness, leads to a very decisive victory indeed. NoScope annihilated me in the first battle, but here the guerrilla deployment comes in clutch and gets us a very nice victory indeed. Unfortunate for him on his army positioning. He didn't do anything wrong at all. He just couldn't have known that my army was going to deploy right in front of him uphill. I mean, what can you do at that point? I just give him mad props for trying his best there. But I got very lucky in also dealing with his cavalry. So GG's to NoScope. Let's very quickly go to the statistics screen and then we'll end it there. Not really a lot to say here, ladies and gentlemen. These statistics definitely do showcase the battle. My swords did amazing. Axemen did fantastic. Even my cheap axemen up here did really good. My archers didn't get many kills at all, but they weren't supposed to. They just needed to rout the enemy, which they definitely did indeed. His men got really cut down. Like most of his units got like reduced to 0 almost. It wasn't that they died in combat, it's that they routed and they were surrounded. So as they're trying to rout off the battlefield, that's when my men are also going to get a lot of kills. His cavalry, not bad selection of cavalry. However, he really needed like 200-300 kills per shot cav unit to be able to have a chance with that army composition he has. His spearmen aren't bad at all, but they're not going to get him a massive amount of kills. The apple bearers, unfortunately, they got outflanked very early on, not a lot they could do. Then the horse archers, it would have been very hard for him to get a lot of kills that would make 4 units of horse archers worth it. But I mean, he saw how effective it was against me when I was playing as Athens, so perhaps that's why he wanted to try and do it again here in this battle. So I mean, mad props to him for trying. The map can definitely lend itself to cavalry usage, so I don't think that played too much of a pivotal role in it, but just my infantry rush combined with the guerrilla deployment was just way too overwhelming for an army like this. For him to do well with this army roster, he would need a long battle where he gets to pin my infantry, with his spearmen, and then just get some very juicy charges with his cavalry, while his horse archers would pick apart my cavalry as well. So I can see his battle plan wasn't bad at all. He just got countered in one of the worst possible ways. Armor-piercing units to chop through his spearmen, and then I had just a horde of light cavalry ready to chase down his cav, and combining that with some low-tier spearmen to pin them down, that was enough to send them reeling. Special shout out to my general, 242 kills, almost no losses, and he just charged into the middle of the enemy main line. What an absolute Chad. The Cimbri, they're getting slept on, everyone. They're an amazing faction. They really are. I'm so happy the DEI team included them in the mod. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, mad shout out to NoScope for the online battles. We have at least one more battle between me and him. I believe I'll show you guys soon, so keep an eye out for that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I shall see you in the next one.